thank you. No. Here we go. Alright. Rolling?
Rolling.
Oh, we're going? Oh, okay, great. Fantastic. Good evening, I'm Mark, Huston. You must try to generate happiness within yourself. If you aren't happy in one place, chances are you won't be happy any place. That is a quote from Mr. Cub himself, Ernie Banks, who spent 19 seasons in the Major League playing for the Chicago Cubs, my baseball team of choice. They play in what is known as Wrigley Field. This is a beautiful picture shot circa 1945 of the exterior of Wrigley Field, home of the Chicago Cubs. It was built in 1914 by, it was commissioned by a man named Charles Wiegum. There's an interesting little background for him from the book Wrigley Field, a celebration of the friendly confines by Mark Jacob and Stephen Green. He was a very enthusiastic man. He came from Indiana, started as a waiter in Chicago, and eventually became a restaurateur. And the basis of his restaurants were essentially a foundation of what we know today as like a fast food restaurant, such as McDonald's. Or he got the people in, got them out, got them fed, and were happy. And so he made a business of that. And so he came into some money, and he decided to erect Wrigley Field. It took less than 7 weeks to build, and it was constructed for around $250,000. So pretty impressive statistics there. It was significant because at this time it's right around the turn of the century, and so everything is becoming more modern. And a lot of the stadiums beforehand were constructed with just like toothpicks and wood, and so were kind of shoddy. But with the Industrial Revolution, they can now be constructed with steel and concrete. And obviously that is a great testament because Wrigley Field is still standing. It is the second oldest ballpark still standing and being used in the States, the first being Fenway in Boston, which was, I believe, constructed in 1912, so 2 years prior to Wrigley. It's a wonderful, wonderful place. It is very, very iconic features, such as the marquee, which has been modernized since then. It used to be all hand done with the tiles. So every one they had to get up on the ladder and change all the letters and get all the information that way. But now, of course, with modernization, it's an actual electronic marquee. But one of the other great features of Wrigley Field is the brick and ivy that lines the outfield wall. The bleachers were added along with the ivy in 1937. The ivy was planted by Bill Veeck, who was manager of the team at the time, and he chose Boston ivy as opposed to English ivy because it was able to withstand the harsh winters of Chicago. And being located directly next to Lake Michigan, it was probably a very wise choice because winters in Chicago are not kind. Again, improving with the modernization come 1988. This was a huge, huge deal. That was when Wrigley added lights to host night games for their for the Cubs, and it was strongly opposed by the neighborhood. They didn't want the lights. They thought they were going to be a distraction. They wanted to keep the history of the field. They thought that this was too much modernization. However, that was eventually the cries were heard and cast aside, and the lights were installed. Prior to that, back in 1945, actually when this was pictured, they had talked about adding lights, but the owner at that time, P.K. Wrigley of the chewing gum conglomerate. That's where the Wrigley Field comes from. He had wanted to install lights, but instead donated all the materials to the war efforts, like so many things have done, were melted down, made into ammunition, whatever. But finally, 1988, we have lights, and it was, and it's been wonderful ever since, because not only, the only thing better than a game at Wrigley during the day, instead of being in class, is a game at Wrigley at night, in my opinion, anyway. So, but it's, gosh, where was I going? I'm still here. But it's a great testament, because it's coming into what it would be. It's its 99th year. Next year being its 100th birthday, which I think is fantastic. That human engineering came up with this, and it has withstood the test of time, and it's beautiful. A lot of it hasn't been declared a national landmark just yet. They are discussing it. They want to, but there are fights involved with that because of red tape that comes with everything that they want to do. But the marquee has been recognized as landmark status by the National Baseball Hall of Fame Museum in Cooperstown, New York. So it does have at least part of it being preserved, and hopefully, once the red tape has been cut, the entire structure itself will be preserved. Another great quote from Ernie Banks that I just love, and it's his most famous would be, "It's a great day for a ball game, so why not play two?" And I think that if you're a diehard Cubs fan like me, that's what we strive for. So I thank you.
It's just over 7 minutes, but it's very close. Just a little bit. So, all right, next week, make sure you do your self-review.